Doing it live. Doing it live. Ron Burgundy here. Do not care.
We are live on Facebook, boys. Just be aware.
Doing it live.
Whoa, whoa. Fox is posting some cool Pastrana videos. I'll have to check those out later.
News guy from Fox News. News guy.
Okay. All right, Shock Therapy Live. Reporting to you a little bit late, but better late than never, ladies and gentlemen. What's going on, Justin?
I will give you guys one guess who was actually late on today's feed and why we are so far behind. Hashtag no Chase.
I don't know.
Admit it, Chase. Admit it. Okay, thank you very much. Sorry we're late, you guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. Today's live feed is who do we recommend? Now, one thing that we get a ton of calls about, hey, what tire do you guys run? What should I buy for a wheel? What power steering? What skid plates? I mean, that's the constant question. Where should I buy my UTV, or what UTV should I buy? These are constants from us, and we've gotten a lot of requests from people that ask, us who we would suggest. So we're kind of gonna go down the list of things that are on our cars, the people that we deal with and why, and hopefully that would help you guys in choosing the right companies that are the best, most solid, and do the best work for you. Unfortunately, I don't have Mitch helping me out with questions in the back, which means all of us have to hear from Chase today. So it may not be a hashtag no Chase day. I don't know what it is. We're gonna find out. But hopefully,
hashtag Viva la Chase.
Viva la Chase. Yeah, I'm not gonna go there. All right, let's just start with the bigger stuff. Where do I buy my UTV? Well, here locally, I'm just gonna go with local because that's really where our experience is. We've got a Ride Now Power Sports, we've got Adrenaline Power Sports, and we've also got Nash. Those would be the three places that we would suggest for a couple of reasons. That's where we buy our cars from. It's also who supports us when it comes to new vehicles. So if there's a new model with a different shock package, that they might slide a car over our way and we can use it for a month. And instead of having to buy 17 versions of a General or an XP.
Romo Rubin, he just wanted to say hello, and so short and straight, so glad you guys are doing these videos. It's one of the positives that comes out of this COVID. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Romo. Really appreciate that, man. It was actually the reason why we started doing this, because we figured everybody would be home bored and have nothing to do, so we figured it'd give them something to talk about.
Bored in my house, and I'm in my house bored. Sorry, Justin, that's TikTok.
Again, so that would probably be hashtag no Chase. Thank you. So places to buy from, you guys, this is opinion based. You know, you go where you're treated the best. But those are the three companies that we have the most success with, that we deal with almost on a daily basis, and we really enjoy working with those guys. So pick the one that you have the best relationship with and run with that as long as you possibly can. Hopefully you have multiple cars you can buy from the same guy, kind of like we have. So once you have your car, what wheel and tire do I buy? Well, that's kind of easy when it comes around this shop. We're gonna suggest Method and Tenzer. Now, in case you guys didn't know this, Method and Tenzer are the same company, or at least are owned by the same company. So, Stephen Bell, if you guys want to talk to somebody over there about wheels and tires, contact Stephen Bell. He's got the most information. He can help you with anything. One thing I will guarantee you that they will not do, they will not sell you the wrong wheel offset.
Oh my
That's something
goodness.
that's common with most others.
B Sando 13, hello from Korea. Can't wait to get back to AZ to rip.
Korea, right on. Thanks for checking in. I really appreciate that.
We also had one question, Justin.
Shoot with a question.
This is actually amazing, and I don't even know this. Ajax C. Davis, what kind of horn do you run on the pre-runner?
Oh man, you're gonna stump me. We've got two different horns, one in the race car and one in the pre-runner. I forget exactly what manufacturer it is. I will tell you this though, we bought it from PCI Race Radios. So maybe contact Matt at PCI. That brings me to my next suggestion. When you guys are dealing with seat belts, clean air systems, Parker pumper stuff, radios, intercoms. Here, I'll open up the side for you, Chase. Radios, intercoms, anything electronic, then we deal with PCI Race Radios. The reason is we've had a relationship with them since 2001. Rihanna over there runs the show. Matt kills it. Scott Steinberger is the owner. And believe it or not, Scott's dad is the original weatherman, who, if you don't know who that is, on any of the score races, if you ever want to hear what's going on or need communication with your team and you don't have radio communication, Weatherman is the channel that everyone goes to because they're up on the top of the mountain of the Baja Peninsula and they have the most coverage, and they do that for free, 48 hours straight. They're helping teams communicate throughout the race. Maybe somebody's down on a bike or a chase team or whatever, but they help you and they support racers big time. They're at all the races. So PCI Race Radios. Chase.
We got our first live tuner inner here today.
Follow me this way, back to my list, so I don't forget what I'm doing.
I hear him. Davis, can you hear me, brother?
I hear you.
Hey, man, I can't see you. You might have a poor connection there. What's your question, man? Something about a sway bar?
Yeah, I got your RC2s on a Razor Turbo and got a little bit of body roll still. I'm trying to figure out which think's best, front or rear sway bar.
So he's got RC2s, Justin.
Okay.
And he's wants to know front or rear sway bar. He's got a little bit of body roll on the car.
What kind of car was it? I didn't hear your question. I'm sorry.
Razor Turbo?
Razor Turbo. So you have a factory front bar?
Yes.
Okay. Where do you drive it the most? Desert, dunes, or trail?
Trail.
Trail. You have too much body roll and you want to eliminate some, right?
Yeah, I just want to get rid of some of the body roll that's in it.
Okay. So I would do a front sway bar, because the front sway bar is going to eliminate quite a bit of body roll without giving you any independent wheel travel sacrifices. If you do the rear sway bar, it's going to eliminate more body roll, but it's going to stop some independence for your trail riding. So for what you're doing, do a front sway bar and you'll love the difference.
It looks like we might have lost him there with his connection, Justin, but be sure to send us your shirt size, Davis. Give us a direct message on Instagram here. We'll get you a shirt. So what were we on to next there, Justin? We just got out of radios.
So, we've got radios, we've got wheels and tires. You've already purchased your car. Let's get into the fun stuff, like maybe some horsepower. We would highly suggest Evo when it comes to any of the initial, like say, flashes and different stages in horsepower when it comes to your daily driven or play car. Now, when you get into the race stuff, there's a lot of options. We have Evo tunes on our play cars. I've got an Evo tune on my pre-runner. When it comes to the race car, we use Mark Queen Racing in Lake Havasu. The reason that we separated that up is I really like Mark, really like the guys over at Evo, and we kind of just wanted to give everybody a piece of what we've got. You're not gonna go wrong either way. Mark excels at the custom stuff with maybe really complicated programming and really complicated dashes and inputs. More on the custom side of things, but if you're looking for a flash that's going to be trouble-free and make a ton of power on your play car, the simplest option, then I would suggest Evo all the way around. Todd and his brother, they kill it. So that's the horsepower side of things. You got any questions while I go to somebody else?
We do. South Bay Drones. How about clutches if you run 30-inch tires, the big tires?
Clutching. We would suggest DynoJet for their clutch kits, weights and tunes and spring systems. And we would also suggest KWI, especially when it comes to machining the clutch for bigger options like one-way bearings or floater systems. Then KWI for the big stuff. We use DynoJet in our race car and in our pre-runners for all of the fine tuning. You can certainly use KWI for that as well. DynoJet Matt, that is the person you want to talk to over at DynoJet, and Chris Worth at KWI.
Real quick, kind of off subject here. Why the Rabby? On yesterday's video, you showed your tube shock towers stiffener. Do you sell those?
No, we don't sell that. That is a custom-made thing for our car. We do not do any fabricated components and sell them. That's why we were trying to show you that front bracket and shock tower from TMW. You can also get them from other manufacturers. S3, Dustin over at S3 makes a nice kit too. We've used them on our cars. A couple guys in our pre-run pack have them as well. I would search them out. We're not selling ours.
Last two before we get back on track here. Hayden, Walker, Howard, are low speeds and high speeds still adjustable with a tune?
Yes, low and high speed adjusters are always adjustable with our internal shock tunes. None of that changes. As a matter of fact, the range of adjustment on low and high is widened from 15% adjustability from all the way soft to all the way stiff factory to about 25 to 30% adjustability. So the range is increased after you've done R-Tune.
Before our next thing, Justin, I'm actually very curious to know. Carson Sandberg, banana or apple, Justin?
Hashtag no chase.
That's literally a question on here. I would definitely.
I refuse to answer that because I think you should have let that question go and go back to the important ones, Chase. This
For
is
me,
why you're not in charge of questions.
For me, it's going to be banana all day, people, just in case anyone wanted to know.
Well, everybody already knows you love bananas, Chase. That's why you're behind the camera trying to, you know what I mean.
Everyone needs potassium.
No, I think you're looking for more, personally, sir. And you're not scared to admit it.
Never.
All right, let's get back to some other stuff. All right, so we've got, you own a car, you've got wheels and tires, you've got horsepower in that sucker. I mean, obviously the best shock company in the world, Shock Therapy. That goes without saying. I'm not gonna talk about that. But what else would you do to it? Well, maybe you want it to look really good. Wrap it. You're gonna paint it, you're gonna wrap it. What are you gonna do? We wrap everything. Obviously, we brand everything we own. Take a look at the wallpaper, much less every single car and truck we have in this shop behind me. Take a look this way. This is where the cameraman slash Chase is supposed to do his job. Hashtag no chase. Everything we have is wrapped by Wolf Designs. Amy and John over at Wolf Designs kill it. They are the best people to deal with when it comes to this. They will take your ideas and they will make them reality, and they will work with you to get you exactly what you're looking for on your wrap. Not only is that process easy with them, but when you're done and the installation is handled on the car, they use the highest grade components that last the longest. Our semi is wrapped by them as well, and the last wrap we had, they only guaranteed it for 3 years. It went 6, and that semi sits in the sun its whole life. So nothing but great things to say about Wolf Designs. Go to them if you possibly can. Even if you're out of state, do that as well. Questions, Chase?
Justin, we got this one. It keeps on coming up here. I can't ignore it. What CVT belts do we run?
So, belts. We run factory. I am not a fan of the marketing on the, say, the Gates harder compound belt that will go a higher temp. We've run them. The reason they go up to a higher temp is because they're harder. Not as much traction acceleration when it comes to the bottom end and mid-range. Yeah, they'll go higher temp, but if the clutch is tuned right, you don't worry about high temps. So I would suggest that the clutch tuning is perfect and you run a factory belt. That's the most success that we've had on both Polaris and on Canyon.
Matty Boy, he says, thanks for the plug, Justin. Dino Jet.
Anytime, Matt. You guys rock. You deserve it. They kill it over there. You guys use Dino Jet if you can.
What else were we going to talk about, Justin? What do you got for us?
How about lights? So now that you got the car wrapped, you got Wolf Designs on there, and you need some lighting, we run Baja Designs. In our opinion, there's nothing better. They've been around forever. They're not an upstart China-built light that you can buy from 17 different shops. There's different names for different lights anywhere. That's because a lot of the stuff that was coming in from China is cheap and easy, and they're looking for dealers. So a lot of people sell off-brand stuff. In our opinion and experience, none of them are as nice, none of them are as bright. The lensing and also focusing isn't as good. We've got Baja Designs, and they support us really well.
Two things I admire about Baja Designs, Justin.
What's the, oh, you're giving me an opinion, Chase.
Jessica comes to every race. There's not one race I haven't seen her at, setting the lights for everyone. As well as
Jessica, Chase?
Jessica is their main rep, their head girl that goes to all the rep for all their departments.
Oh, so it's possible you don't like bananas?
I probably don't like his bananas as much as you think. As well as tell everyone the story about our Baja Design lights at the, what was that, the 500 when you had on the car?
It was the 1000, the 1000 3 years ago, and in the 1000 we got into a head-on collision with a local and an S10 truck, or their Mexican's version of an S10. And we were doing about 40 and that truck was doing 25, and we had on them right coming around a corner, dead stop. Our Baja Design lights on the front bumper crushed their bumper and imprinted Baja Designs and the light structure into their hood. And we peeled the cars apart and cut as much apart as we had to and finished the race, and that light worked. And that is a true story. I'll back that up with pictures and video all day long. So they're awesome. Back to Chase's opinion, If you want to listen to him when it comes to reps being good or bad, you can choose what he would like to, but luckily she works for a great light company. So good job.
See you at the races, Jess.
All right, what else you got? You got some more questions?
What exactly is a floater clutch from South Bay Racer Media?
So floating clutch is on the secondary clutch, there's a bearing inside there. As the primary expands or contracts and centers up on the belt, that can widen or narrow the alignment of the belt compared to the secondary. So that misalignment of the belt, as one is expanding and working like they should, can keep the belt a little bit crooked and cause heat. So if that bearing in the back is a floater, so that whole secondary can float on the rear shaft inward and outward, it follows the belt perfectly in line and drops down. That's a floating bearing, highly recommended.
Real quick, before we leave the subject of the race car, on the race car, chromoly or DOM?
Chromoly always, DOM is not for racing.
As well as, Justin, are we using the Tensor DS or are we using the Tensor ON on the race car?
We're running the 33 Tensor on the race car, and we run the 32 DS on the pre-runners and some of our play cars. We are slowly cycling all of the DSs off of our play cars to go to the 33. Not for any reason. We love the DS, we've raced it, but we love the 33, the extra height and the traction from that tread pattern we prefer, so we're gonna start swapping all of them out and end up with 33s on the car.
Ale 09, when will new merch be coming available? Where Little Bird is telling you guys that there will be a new hat drop today. 2 hats that everyone's been requesting. So
I know nothing about that. You know something about that, Chase?
Yeah, we didn't have our fireman and police hats on the website that we've actually had stocked, only giving away specialty to our actual privacy departments.
Well, that makes sense. So you guys will be able to purchase that.
Those hats, we've had so many people notice them online, they want to be able to purchase them. So it's happening today.
Not necessarily a new hat for me, I've seen them, but new hat for everybody else going on the site.
Yes, we got a couple people wanting to go live here. I'm going to give Ryan K. Mitchell a chance here.
Okay.
Before we get back into more.
I'm just looking at my list of people we suggest. It's long, so don't mind me over here.
Ryan, what's going on, brother?
Hey guys, so a little off topic for you, but I got a question. I want to talk about your sway bars. Looking across the board, the different sway bars, you guys use the spring steel, kind of similar to the stock setup. But what's the advantage of that spring steel setup for you guys and say a rear sway bar like a Lone Star that kind of is more of a, I guess, a true torsion bar?
Okay, totally understandable. So here's the deal. A solid or spring steel style sway bar, like what we have on the race car or on the pre-runner, is what we sell, compared to a hollow bar that's splined on the end and it's got an aluminum or steel armature that slides over those spline. Okay, the bars function the same. There's no twisting in either bar except for the area that's between the bushing mounts. This straight portion of the bar in the middle of both of these bushing mounts, this is the part that twists. This twist is what gives you the resistance or ultimate spring rate in the bar. A hollow bar has two hardened surfaces, inner and outer. So you can run a lighter bar that have the same spring rate as a solid bar with one outer heat-treated surface. So the function of both of them can be identical, even though one's hollow and one's not. The advantage is this. The bar has a shelf life. It will twist, say, 100,000 cycles. It's not 100,000, but I'm throwing that out there. Whatever amount of cycles it's gonna do. Let's say 100,000 cycles. At 100,001 cycles, that bar snaps. It's timed out. It has a shelf life. A solid bar, like what we do, does not have a shelf life. It actually does, but if a hollow bar is 100,000, then a solid bar is 1,000,000. So the shelf life is much past the car. So the reason that we do solid bars is because they last forever. And there's no negative, or there isn't a negative to running a hollow bar other than time. So maybe for racing, it would be good to run a hollow bar and save the weight. It's more expensive typically, but you're gonna change the bar every season because otherwise the second season of racing, you're gonna break the bar. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. And then I guess just a little bit more, I'm sorry to keep you off track, but with regards to like the tuning of the shocks with the front and rear sway bar, with the correlation between soft and stiff, so basically when you're tightening up that sway bar, you should be tightening the shocks up to a stiffer rate as well, correct?
Actually, it's the opposite. So as you stiffen or tighten a sway bar, you're adding spring rate to the car once it's in a corner. That additional spring rate from a tighter bar on the outside means that you could lose some spring rate in the shock, or you could set the compression a little bit softer and the car would act the same. So it's the opposite correlation. It's all about spring rate. So in theory, if you throw more bar at the car, you could do less spring, you could do less compression. If you throw less sway bar at the car, in order to keep it riding that way or performing the same, you would have to throw more compression or spring at it. Hopefully that makes sense.
When you say more or less spring, are you referring to preload?
That's part of it, but no. When I say more spring, I mean ultimately the spring rate in the spring. So say a 200-pound spring, a 250, a 300-pound spring, you would need more spring. Now preload will be a cheap or cheating way to get you more spring rate. It's not the best way if we're really talking about tuning this perfectly. Another way you could fake it, or at least tune it without changing spring, is you could take some sway bar off the car, or lighten up the sway bar, and you could lower the crossover ring so it engages the heavy spring sooner. That would do the same thing in a corner, ultimately.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I asked the question, because my thought process on it was a little bit different there, so I appreciate that.
Now, if you really want to get technical with this, I would suggest reading a couple suspension books written by IndyCar guys or by the NASCAR guys, because they're going to give you all the technicalities, how a sway bar rate and spring rate can be combined and work together. But majority of that fine tuning is only good if you've got asphalt traction with a slick. As soon as you get into the dirt, you can throw that fine tuning out the window and you have to take big swings at it.
Right. Makes sense. Well, thank you very much. That was a solid answer. I appreciate it.
No problem, man. Take it easy. Thanks for signing in. Give us your shirt size and color. We'll send it to you.
Hey, we like your backdrop as well, man. I like the dirt bikes. I like the dog. RIS.
Yeah, there he is.
All right. Have a good one, brother.
All right, take care.
All right. Justin, for those of everyone who's just joining us, give us a little recap. What have we talked about
All right,
thus far?
recap this show. We're talking about people we recommend in the industry and businesses. So who do you buy wheels and tires from, and wraps, radios, and all that good stuff? Here's the rundown. Local dealers, pick who you're happy with. Wheels and tires, do Tenzer method. Talk to Stephen Bell. When it comes to radios, run PCI race radios. Talk to Matt over there, or Rhiannon. Wolf wraps. What else did we go through? Evo for horsepower. Mark
Baja
Queen.
Designs.
Yep, Baja Designs for lights. These are all people that we suggest that you guys deal with because they've been in the industry forever and they are awesome to deal with. Next on the list, let's go to hubs and seats. So you guys are pretty much always doing seats and belts. We deal with PRP. PRP is badass. They've done great for us. We've got actually the seats out of this car, but you can see some of the seat belts. Also on the race car, we've got seats in there, and with all of our PRP limit straps, seat belts. This car's actually got a set of sparkles in it at the moment, but we normally run a PRP. They're over in the new race car on the far end of the shop for the fabrication area. So PRP, we run Geyser when it comes to play car pull plates and front bulkhead supports. We run TMW for front bulkhead double shear kits, things of that nature. Roll cages, TMW, Geyser, Jeffries, SDR. There's a lot of good companies out there that supply some nice stuff, and you can't go wrong if you do a little bit of research. How about mud flaps? We run Rock Blocks. Rock Blocks has a great selection of plastic components as far as skid plates, mud flaps, and fender flares. We would highly suggest them. They are awesome to deal with. How about the big elephant in the room we haven't talked about? Shocks. We prefer Fox. Now, there's nothing wrong with Walker, Bilstein, a whole bunch of others you can throw out there, but the company that's been in this the longest when it comes to off-road racing and has the biggest pedigree, largest, deepest engineering pool, and the ability to supply the most shocks at the highest quality in our opinion, is going to be Fox. Now, we also work with them when it comes to development, so IQS electronic systems and also co-branded stickers. When everybody else is forced to take their sticker off, we're actually part of the Fox family when it comes to that. We are the only one. So Fox shocks, for sure. How about jacks? More of a racing related thing, but we prefer AGM, all German products, all German motorsports. Here is the electronic jack that we run on the race car. It's the lightest jack for the most weight capacity. This will actually pick the whole car up. And if I wasn't careful, it'll actually spread the frame on accident. So we have to be careful with that on the race car.
Don't want to make Darren and Tony mad.
Right. You got any questions, Chase?
Oh, we got a ton coming in here, but I want to keep talking about any more products that we got before we get more off-subject questions.
All right, PRP, Geyser, ZRP. So ZRP and Streamline. ZRP, we run all of their components when it comes to billet race hubs on the race car. Here is a stock spindle, and here is a ZRP spindle with a larger bearing. ZRP is badass. Travis is amazing to deal with. If you guys need any products that they make, it's probably one of the best things that could be made. We would suggest them for sure. Axles, we run RCV. We also run some Lone Star stuff on our play cars, but on most of the race cars that we have or on the pre-runner, we run RCV. We can run a full 1,000 miles on a set of axles and CVs from them without having to do any prep work on the race car. Well, then we'll take the axles out and we'll flip them around backwards, or the CVs, we'll flip the CVs around backwards and we'll run them another 1,000 miles before we buy another set. So we're running 2,000 race miles on one set of CVs from RCV. Can't beat that.
Justin, totally off subject here. Who did the artwork for Shockey and for our logo? I know we've talked about this before.
Artwork for us, Shockey was sketched on a napkin by myself, and then it was turned over to Ernie's brother, who turned him into a badass cartoon, and we had him digitized, and that's what we run with. So,
how many stacks for the jack from Jake Barner?
How many stacks? Oh, what they charge?
How much is it, Justin?
Yeah, I'm not sure what retail is. I bet you it's probably $1,000 bucks.
I was gonna say, I think Darren said $1,000.
Yeah, I think the jack's $1,000 bucks. We got distributor racer deal on it, so it's a little less for us.
Is that a big ass fan on the ceiling I see?
Yes, we run big ass fans in our shop. It's not anything to do with cars, but we would suggest them. We did the math, man, about 20 little fans can't touch one big fan, and they're about the same amount of money. We really like that fan.
Recommended height for a Can-Am X3 Max with 32s.
X3 Max 32s, stock should be about 15 inches. We run about 16 to 17 with our spring kits. That's also measured with you in the car. Brakes, we run Streamline brakes, and we run a factory caliper with a Streamline pad and a larger diameter Streamline rotor. We can lock up 33s breathing on the pedal from 80 miles an hour on asphalt. And I know you guys, if you've got big tires on an X3, you're probably complaining about brakes. We don't have any issues with our car with Streamline, so we'd suggest them. Power steering, E-power steering all day. Ken over at E is amazing to deal with. He has a great product. He also has a power unit that's 3 times more powerful than stock and has a rheostat knob on it, so you can turn the power up and down according to what you want to feel in the steering wheel. No other system will do that. We've had great luck with it. Highly suggest that power steering unit.
You ready to go off course again yet?
What do you got? Oh, you mean race? Yeah, we got a race next month.
Definitely ready to race.
Hell yeah.
But as far as questions go, Ryan H. Bartlett, what is the preload adjuster really made to do? I know it is stuffing the shock but what is the real purpose of them?
Not sure what you mean by stuffing the shock, but a preload adjuster is there for you to adjust the tension on the spring to raise and lower the car for ride height. That is its single job in life. So if you run it down too far and you're still not sitting high enough, you have the wrong spring package. The reason they're adjustable is because people want different ride heights in cars, and there are too many variables in spring packages for them to be exactly the same every single time. So you have to adjust it to get it right.
Justin, I am going to try to get a couple people live with us. We have James Dahman Y92. Oh, he's connecting. Here we go.
James, what's happening, buddy?
Hello?
James, we can hear you. We can't see you.
Okay, well, so my question is about setting rebound. I bought your guys' revalve and shock setup, and I have IQS, but when I'm at Little Sahara in Salt Lake City, Utah, when I hit the whoops, my back end bounces really high and almost like flips the car over. Is it best to start all the way soft on the rebound and then kind of work your way up, or is it better to go the opposite way?
I would start in the middle. I assume you have an X3 because you have IQS and a rebound adjuster, right? So in our X3 system, we would start that rebound clicker in the rear at 12 clicks. There are 4 full turns, 6 clicks per turn. So at 12 clicks, you're right in the middle. Start there. If you have any bucking issues, then start putting 2 to 3 clicks in clockwise to that rebound adjuster in the back until it settles the rebound down or settles that bucking down. It probably will not take much. Maybe 3 to 6 clicks and it'll completely be gone. Unless it's all the way loose right now and you're having bucking because that thing's not turned in where it needs to be. So start at 12 clicks and start adding from there to stop the back.
Hold on, Justin. We did lose him, but I have him requesting to go back in again. Let's see if we can answer his question. Hold on, and hey, we lost you, but now you're back.
Did you get all that explanation, buddy? You need me to do it again?
I just missed the last part. You said 3 clicks max I should do?
No, 3 clicks it's actually 3 clicks at a time. So start with the rear at 12 clicks, and that would be from all the way soft, go 12 clicks to the right. And then from there, I want you to put 3 clicks clockwise at a time until that rear starts to settle down. It won't take very much, maybe 3 to 6.
Okay. And then if I add more horsepower, because right now I'm on the 420X tune by Evo, if I upgrade it to a bigger tune, am I going to have to tweak that again?
You won't. If anything, it's going to squat the back a little bit more with more horsepower. So you might end up putting another 1/4 of an inch to 3/8 of an inch of preload in the rear spring package to get the back to set up a little higher. Only because when floored, you're going to want it to not completely squat to the ground.
Looks like we did lose him again, Justin, so hopefully
you got that. So more preload for more horsepower, but very small amount.
Be sure to send us your shirt size.
Shirt size and
address,
color.
brother. We got one more live viewer.
What do you got?
How's it going, man? What can we do for you?
What's up? I'm planning to go to Glamis later on tonight. Gotta check out my new lights. I just got a lot of designs like you guys suggested.
Right on, man. You're going to love them. They're bright as hell.
Yeah, well worth the money.
Yep.
What I want to know is basic bolt-on upgrades or just to get the turbo on these things flowing the way they should be. I know it's intake exhaust. I went with the SMB for the intake because I don't want to keep changing filters every freaking time I go out there. And for exhaust, I see that everything for these things like $1,000. However, I used to work in the car industry, aftermarket stuff, and a $400 complete system does the job. So would you suggest just buying like a vibrant muffler, having a fabricator just do some 3-inch piping and I'm good to go?
No, I wouldn't. Honestly, I'm going to go against what you're thinking. The factory air cleaner system intake is well good enough to make 290 horsepower all day. The SMB is nice, so you don't have to worry about air filters, but I wouldn't change anything else on the intake system unless you're making 350 horsepower and up. On the exhaust side, the factory exhaust flows amazing, and if you spent $1,200, you might see 3 horsepower. It's a very small gain, no matter what you do for exhaust. I would suggest if you've got an Evo flash that you run the Evo exhaust, if you're going to do anything at all. But I mean, we've taken the exhaust completely off and run straight pipe and seen only 5 horsepower on the dyno. So the factory system is very efficient. I would probably spend the amount of money you feel comfortable with and buy an exhaust that you like the sound of, because the horsepower is not going to be a big enough factor.
Okay, and it being turbocharged, you can go from factory size piping to larger size. Would that play a difference?
Did you change the turbo, or is the turbo still stock?
No, everything's bone stock. It's a 2019.
Yep, if you haven't changed the turbo, don't worry about diameters. It's not going to make a difference. As soon as you go to a bigger turbo, that's when you're going to start changing exhaust diameters and intake diameters. Until then, it's a waste of money. They don't want you to hear that, man. Nobody wants to say, hey, my exhaust only makes 3 more horsepower. They're going to tell you whatever they got to tell you, but that's what we've seen.
Well, it's only a 900cc engine, so what do you
Exactly, right?
I'm a Honda guy, so I know about displacement and all that.
There you go. There you go. Send us your shirt color and your size so we can get you something.
Last question.
Yep.
Real simple. I do plan to do your full setup, IQS, drop my rig off, everything like that. Now, your sticker, is there a way I can get a black gold edition sticker and not have gold stick out?
You can. I will have you contact Wolf Designs prior to dropping your car off. Wolf Designs is the only company that has the rights to use our logo on a sticker and print a different color. And they'll get you any color you want, and they'll get it in advance into our shop before your car's there.
Sweet. Maybe a thin blue line edition that I suggest. Cool.
There you go. Thanks, man.
Thank you, guys.
Have a good day.
You too.
All right, let me whip through these and I'll answer all the other questions, okay? When it comes to front driveline and front diffs, we use Halo Locker, all their internals on our X3 components. If you've got Polaris or other things, we would suggest Sandcraft. We run a Sandcraft driveline in our car. Sandcraft also offers internals for X3, but they've got a ton of front diff internals when it comes to XP or any of the Polaris products, so we suggest them.
Bryce Menzies, real quick, just wanted to give you a thumbs up there, Justin.
Bryce, thanks for tuning in, bud. I appreciate that. You kill it on your end too. Very much appreciated. Halo rod ends, we prefer FK. All of our rod ends are private labeled from them, and we run them on everything we have. Also, those are the components that you get on the products you buy from us. So a lot of people have rumors as to where that stuff comes from. They don't know the truth. There you have it. So Sandcraft Switch Pros. I'm almost done with these. This is good. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. So Switch Pros, we run their switch and dash assemblies, control systems on all of our cars, and also on our chase trucks. So we want to turn on lights up on top. We want to turn on any of the components in our chase trucks. We run a Switch Pros unit on the dash. Got Switch Pros in the pre-runner and on all the race cars. They're super awesome to work with. I would suggest that if you're thinking about running 27 switches on the dash, I just run a Switch Pros panel and be done with it. UTV products for skid plates. We've got all that on the race car and also on the pre-runner. And last but not least, that's it. I went through all of them. So if you guys have another question as to what should I run that I didn't cover, say it now. Otherwise, if you got somebody else to sign on, Chase, go for it. You were actually pretty good, Chase, about not butting in and being, yourself.
I learned a little bit from you.
Here it is now. Now he's going off. He's all of a sudden Southern. He's got an East Coast. I don't know how I say that. East Coast. Yenta?
Fusion?
Yeah, I'm not sure. He's got a bunch of impressions. You guys will hear him at some point.
I like to be the shop poly shore,
Shop poly, yeah, that's pretty good. That's about exactly right.
Hayden Walker Howard. Wife wants to know if she could get a first responder on her X3. She's an ER nurse.
Absolutely. First responder discounts you've got for nurse or firefighters is 5%. If you are on any of the Razor forums or any of the X3 forums, then make sure you let us know what your screen name is. We'll give you another 5.
We're going to be in trouble because we didn't talk about our boys over at Cryo Heat.
That's right. So Cryo Heat, we use them on all of our internal components. And you know what? That brings up another one. It's also going to be Weddle. So we cryo treat the majority of our internal parts on the race car and some of our play cars as well. Cryo Heat's badass and pretty much the only one in the industry you should be choosing. From a tranny standpoint and overall servicing, we have Weddle do a lot of work for us as well. So there's both.
Off topic, if the internals on a Ride Diamond Dynamics XP Turbo S does not eliminate the dynamic portion of the shocks?
No. So any modifications that we have on the inside of a dynamic system does not affect the way Dynamics works. Dynamics computer and its process of adjusting the shock does not know what it's connected to. It could be connected to a really horrible shock tune. It's just going to adjust that horrible shock tune. It could be connected to an amazing shock tune, both spring and internals, and it's going to adjust an amazing shock. So when we modify the inside, it just makes the car great all the way around, and then it adjusts that great setup. So hopefully that answers your question. It does not affect the dynamics.
Jake Barner, tell me about that Duraclutch, boy.
About what?
Tell me about the Duraclutch.
Duraclutch?
Duraclutch.
Couldn't tell you about Duraclutch, man. We use DynoJet.
All right, elaborate on that question. What time are you guys doing the mustache giveaway? Good
question. Okay, we said we're going to give that away on our live feed. It's actually just not going to be on my live feed. Here in about 2 hours, Chase is putting together a video to kind of show you guys some of the people that entered, some of the cool things and pictures that we thought were worthy of mentioning, and also give you the winner. It's going to be Steve on a live feed because he's the one with the mustache, so it seemed only fitting. Give us a couple hours.
So when you guys see Steve live today, just know
that is a winner.
Figuring out, we got 2 winners, and this was pretty hilarious. We when did we post it? We posted it Friday last week.
Yep.
We had literally only 2 entries, 2, until last night, and now we got literally probably about 50 to 100 people in there. So it's going to be hard to choose from.
A lot of good entries too. You guys did a great job.
Yes, very, very creative. We got some questions flying in here before we cap off. Why does an X3 feel like I can't control it in 2-wheel drive and sometimes on 4-wheel drive? Any suggestions on what to buy from you guys?
Well, tire's going to have a big effect on that. You know, crappy tire, no traction. 2-wheel drive is always going to be squirrely. We never run our cars in 2-wheel drive. We always race in 4-wheel drive at all times. It's much faster and more stable. If it's not a tire issue, then maybe adjust the shock. Shock could be really stiff and have too much rebound, so the tire is not following the terrain, it's just bouncing off of the terrain, which would make it feel really squirrely. So adjust that. Go back to a couple of our videos on how to adjust shocks when it comes to compression and rebound. Maybe about 6 videos ago, we had a pretty good one on that, so tune into that. Adjust your shock to try and help that out if it's not a tire problem.
Sway bars will help with staying planted too at the higher speeds.
No, sway bars will be more comfortable and stop any of the looseness and body roll feeling of it, but it's not really going to keep the car planted as opposed to being squirrely on the tire, and that's why we don't ask Chase questions.
Hashtag no Chase, I'll do it to myself.
There we go.
Up?
There we go.
Ryan H. Bartlett, again, what is your thought on the portal gear lifts? Ryan, you got a lot of crazy questions, man.
Well, that's not crazy because anywhere on the other side of the Mississippi, it's all portals. So a portal is an excellent way to lift a car 4 to 8 inches. It is a horrible way to keep the car driving correctly, maintain no feedback. It's going to give you a ton of feedback. It is a horrible way to maintain lifespan of parts. Basically a portal is going to ruin parts, drive like crap, but it's going to sit taller. So you have to decide what you're willing to give up to do that. If you don't need 8 inches of lift, then I would suggest a spring kit, get 2 or 3, and maintain the drivability in the car.
All right, we got one from Razor Rick here. Turbo S front diff sole leak issue. Bearing failure is common. How to fix?
Did you say Turbo S?
Turbo S front diff seal leak issue.
I haven't seen that.
It looks like a bearing failure is questioned, and is this common?
So I haven't seen that as being common. On the Turbo S front diff, it's pretty much a bulletproof diff in all ways. Really not seen any major failures of any kind. As a matter of fact, guys are putting a ton of horsepower to those and having no issues, as opposed to a turbo or XP turbo or XP front diff, which had a ton of issues. I would contact Sandcraft if you want some really good advice on that, because we don't race a Turbo S. We just play with them, and I haven't seen that problem.
Party Planet 65 has a great question here, Justin, that I know you'll be able to answer because you've got much experience in it. What PRP seats do you run, and which would you recommend for a larger guy with back issues? Jeff.
Right there. So that's the PRP seat that we run in the pre-runner and typically in the race car. I can't tell you the actual name of that seat. I would suggest that you contact PRP, talk to Scott, or talk to Jason. Those guys are going to steer you in the right direction. Okay, my navigator, Jeff, has back issues, and with the standard pad that you see on the driver's side seat on this one, we go 10 hours of pre-running per day, 4 days in a row in Baja. So we love our seats, and they're really comfortable.
I'll go ahead and say it too. He's no little boy.
Jeff.
We love you, Jeff.
Jeff, hashtag no chase.
Lens Kizzer. Hi, can high and low speed adjustments be added to Fox shocks with only soft to stiff adjustment?
Yes, so the high and low speed adjuster is called a DSC, dual speed adjuster. It can be added to any 2.5-inch diameter shock. If any 2.5-inch diameter Fox. If you have a 2-inch diameter Fox, then the high-low speed adjuster is coming but not available today. It is something we've been working on for about a year. We should have it in 2 months.
What oils do we use, Justin? Polaris or others?
We use others. We use
Z-Max, I believe.
well, we use Z-Max oil on all the things that matter. How's that? So engine oil, transmission, front diff, things like that. And in the past, we've run some full synthetic stuff that you can buy over the counter, but the Z-Max stuff is amazing. Highly recommend that you run their oils. Great success for us.
Mr. Sparkles 1. Why does Can-Am use 3 radius arms? And I want to know how you got that name, brother.
All right, man, the reason that Can-Am uses 3 radius rods in the back is because the upper and the lower maintain alignment for the tire, and the one in the middle maintains toe. So it's the only manufacturer that controls rear toe through cycle. A Polaris only has 2, and the hub is bolted solidly to the trailing arm. So there's no toe control throughout that cycle on a Polaris, but that third one can change the toe and keep it pointing straight in the right direction, which makes the X3 a little bit more stable going through the big whoops.
It's from The Simpsons. I totally get it, brother. You're totally getting beat up with questions here, Justin. I'm going to keep throwing them at you. DT Rider, would you suggest changing the driveline? Hold on. With the Sandcraft carrier bearings, or does it matter keeping the stock driveline?
It depends on how hard you run your car, in my opinion. If you're talking about a Polaris, they tend to have a lot of vibration to begin with, so I'd run a Sandcraft system pretty much right away. If you're talking about an X3, then if you're playing, I would run the stock stuff. If you're running the car hard, I would run a Sandcraft system. We run the Sandcraft system in our race cars and our play cars because we have a lot of miles on them, a lot of testing, and we've gotten to the point where we've worn the stock ones out.
We're totally going to have to get Evo in here. 2017 Can-Am X3 with Evo Stage 3R. Do you recommend clutch work, and what kind of 32-inch tires? Tensor.
Yes, so on the tires, Tensor, period. That would be my suggestion. On the clutching, absolutely you need clutch work. You need clutch work the second you change the diameter of the tire if you want the thing to be badass. As soon as you put power to it, you need clutch work by a factor of 10. So I would suggest that you contact Evo for the setup that they suggest for that power, or contact Matt at DynoJet, and he will get you the exact spring and weight package that you can put into your clutch to tune for the 32 and that horsepower level. Now, that tune is what's in my pre-runner on a 32, and I'm running a DynoJet kit. And I will tell you this, I have never blown up a belt in my car in 13,500 miles. Now I do change it pretty regularly. I'll throw a belt on it in a pre-run every 1,000 miles, and I'll throw a belt on it after a weekend in the dunes. But it's incredible the difference once your clutch is tuned right, so contact DynoJet.
You're not the slowest of drivers either, Justin.
I don't know about that. Depends on the day.
With that being said, everyone's giving you much love for all the knowledge, Justin.
Cool.
Let's give everyone a little wrap up of kind of everything we talked about. I know it was a lot of parts.
All right, let's go back over to the race car so I can remember every single person that we've tried to touch upon. Today's video, who do we recommend? Dealers, choose your own. I gave you a couple local choices. Wheel and Tire, Tensor, Method, AGM when it comes to jacks, Fox shocks, best shock made, FK rod ends, ZRP hubs, Streamline brakes, Halo front diff, Baja Designs when it comes to lights, Wolf Designs when it comes to style and badass looking on your car when it comes to designs, and also wallpaper. Hell, you want to wallpaper your bedroom? Give him a call.
He's even wrapped some trash cans for us.
He has wrapped a lot of stuff. They'll do whatever that you ask, trust me. Rock blocks, UTV ink. Man, we've got so much. Let me just go right down the list. Evo, Queen, KWI, PCI race radios, without saying, the only one that supports racers the most. Geyser, RCV, e-power steering, Ken over there, great power steering unit. Switch Pros, and Sandcraft. That's it. That's who we choose. Hopefully you guys write that stuff down, buy from them, you'll have the most success. Let's wrap this up. Cool, Chase?
Last question. Razor Rick, do shock reservoir caps help anything?
Shock reservoir caps help nothing. Total 100% BS. Okay? Yeah, more nitrogen volume does nothing for you. They're selling you a cap. That's all you're getting.
All right, we're going to let everyone go. And I did want to point out, a lot of people were saying that we had a lot of viewers in here today, Justin. They said they were only here for the mustache. We already told everyone about the mustache
I'll tell you
contest,
again.
and we still got the same amount of viewers. So thank you guys.
All right, mustache giveaway is going to be live from Steve himself in about 2 hours. It's not live right this second. So wait for the next live and you're going to get the winner announced then. That way we can also acknowledge the other 10 or 15 people that were badass in that contest as well. So thanks for tuning in, you guys. We have no idea what we're going to do tomorrow, but we'll dream it up between now and then. Tune in, 12:30. If you want to buy any products, go to shocktherapist.com. If you have any questions, call us, 623-217-4959. You guys have a great day.